This is not a course where we're going to do a whole lot of HTML stuff or a whole lot of CSS stuff. Here I wrote CSS, but you should have some idea of what it's about. It'll make you a better programmer because JavaScript code, as you know, sits inside of an HTML document. And this is an HTML document. It begins with this doc type HTML, and then these are familiar tags: beginning of HTML, end of HTML. Remember, /, beginning of head section, end of head, beginning of body, end of body, and so forth. And these tags in the body section should be familiar. I have a heading 1, and heading 2, which is of course less bold, less big than the other one. A couple of paragraphs. This tag with the A there, this is a hyperlink. So anchor is actually what it stands for. So A is the beginning of the hyperlink. This is a link to a W3 Schools site, which is a very good one if you want to click on and learn about CSS there. And this is what actually shows up on the screen. So you can see visit W3 Schools CSS tutorial. There it is on the screen, and you end up going to this link. And then there's another H1 at the end. So you'll notice this page is sort of bright and colorful, and things are centered and look a little bit different than normal HTML. And that's because I added some code which is written in this language called CSS. It actually stands for a cascading style sheet, and it sits in the head section of your document. You can actually put it in a separate file if you wanted to, but for now we're just going to put it in the head section of a document, and it begins with this tag called style, and it ends with this tag called style. And again, it's in the head section, and we're not going to go, CSS could be an entire course by itself. I just want you to have some idea of what it's about. So CSS allows you to add different style and formatting to your HTML document. So we can just take a look at it. Here, again, CSS sits inside of these style tags. Here I'm saying that I want the body of my document to have the background color aquamarine. Now, you could Google CSS background colors, and there's tons of them, which is actually what I did. I Googled CSS color names, and I came up with this entire chart. You can see I used aquamarine here, but you can specify all of these different colors: cyan, dark cyan, whatever, all this stuff. You can either use the color names, or you can use this code. This code is written in hexadecimal. It's a base 16, so I could actually copy this code. This is floral white, and instead of writing something like aquamarine, I could paste this code here. If I save it and go back and refresh it, you can see it changes the color to whatever this code is. So you can specify the background color and all sorts of other things with CSS. Now here I've specified that I want all of my H1 tags to be written in a font size of 30 pixels. I want the color to be red, and I want the text to be aligned in the center. That's why you see this in the center here. All of my H2 tags, I said I want that to be 20 pixels, and I want it to be underlined, the text decoration to be underlined. You can look up CSS text decoration, and you'll see there are other options. So here I'm having it underlined. Every paragraph I want to have a font size of 14. These A link, A visited, A hover, A active, those describe how I want this hyperlink to be formatted. And you can see initially the color is blue. Oh, well, actually I must have visited already. Let's see if I can refresh. Well, okay. The color is blue because I already visited the thing. If I hover over it, A hover, that means the anchor here, when I hover over it, it's green. Watch this, it changes to green. That's great. When it's active, it changes to yellow. So if I click on it, it became yellow. Now I'm going to go to the CSS tutorial. Okay, there I go. Initially it was red, but you can't see that because I already visited it. But if I added something else, let's do another link. If I did something like, and I made the other link maybe go to Google, let's say, .com, and I changed the text to say, go to Google, If I save this and refresh it, you see there's my link to Google, and before I visit it, it's red. So this says, make the color red initially. After you visit it, it becomes blue, and we can see that'll happen. If I return here, oh, it stayed red. Well, that's interesting. It should not have, but let's see. Let's try to rerun this, and oops. Well, now I've like created a total mess. Well, that's interesting. I'm not sure why it stayed red. It should have gone to blue after I returned from visiting it, but so be it. Anyway, if I click on it, it's yellow, and yeah, there I am at Google. And again, that's a little weird that it didn't change color to blue, but that's the way it goes. Anyway, you don't have to know a whole lot about CSS, but now at least you're familiar with what this business is in the heading. And actually, one more thing, if I remove this, I can just cut that out of there. I can save my document, refresh it. You can see this is what the page looks like before I added the CSS formatting. And again, you can add as much as or as little CSS as you want. If I paste this back in, you know, I could just maybe, I don't know, maybe the only thing I want to do is change the background color. I could certainly do that. There you go. So CSS is the kind of thing, it's a tag language, sort of like HTML, but it allows you to add enhanced formatting to your HTML document. And I would look it up. I would check out this CSS tutorial, and you can check out a little bit more about about how CSS works and how you might use it. All right, so I hope you have a general sense of it. And again, you just have to be able to kind of recognize it. This is not a course in CSS. All right, see you in class.